Welcome to my channel. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Solo Sikoa was once again involved in the main event of SmackDown as Fatu looked to secure the second last spot in the Elimination Chamber match. However, a huge misunderstanding in the bloodline allowed another big star to secure the win. The main event of SmackDown this week saw Fatu take on arch-nemesis Braun Strowman and ex-World Heavyweight Champion Damian Priest to determine the second-last spot in the Elimination Chamber match 2 weeks from now. The insane finish saw Solo Sikoa interfere, only for Cody Rhodes to hijack his intentions. This led Damian Priest to take out Fatu, while Cody took Solo Sikoa out in an act of revenge. This led to Damian Priest beating Braun Strowman to secure that all-important spot in Toronto. In the end, Cody Rhodes and Damian Priest shook hands, and they seemed to understand how their cooperation benefited one another. Priest, in particular, benefited from Cody's interference. This week on SmackDown, Solo seemed to be on the back foot. He teased a character change and told Jacob that he loved him, but Fatu walked away in response. This certainly won't help, and Solo will feel as though he let Fatu down again. It will be interesting to see how the Samoan werewolf responds. The air in the arena was thick with anticipation. The bloodline had ruled WWE for years, its foundation built on dominance, family, and unwavering loyalty. But tonight, that foundation was showing cracks. Solo Sikoa, the enforcer, stood in the center of the ring, his cold stare burning into the crowd. Paul Heyman lurked behind him, phone in hand, eyes darting nervously. The bloodline had been fracturing ever since Roman Reigns disappeared from the spotlight. The USOs had been torn apart, Jimmy aligning himself with Solo while Jay carved his own path. And now, a new presence loomed over the faction, an entity so feared and powerful that even Solo Sikoa seemed uneasy. The lights dimmed, a pulsating drumbeat echoed through the arena. Then, the Titantron flashed a single name: Fatu. Fatu marched down the ramp with a calculated intensity. His presence alone sent ripples through the WWE Universe. He was an unhinged powerhouse, a man who could dismantle the bloodline from within. The moment he slid into the ring, Solo's body tensed. The two men stood inches apart, their Samoan heritage binding them yet setting them against one another. The tension in the ring was suffocating. Heyman swallowed hard, trying to mediate. Jacob smirked. No need. Solo, you act like you run the bloodline now. But last I checked, you were just Roman's cleanup guy. I think it's time for a new leader, a real warrior. And that ain't you. Solo didn't flinch. His fingers flexed, itching to strike. You don't know what you're stepping into, Use. Jacob scoffed. I know exactly what I'm stepping into. The problem is, you don't. You're just following orders. But I don't follow. I take what's mine. The crowd erupted, sensing the impending explosion. Heyman frantically tried to defuse the situation, but his pleas fell on deaf ears. Solo struck first, a brutal forearm to Jacob's jaw. But Jacob barely budged. He grinned, then drove his head forward with a vicious headbutt, sending Solo stumbling backward. The two titans clashed in the center of the ring, fists flying. Jacob's brawling style matched Solo's raw power, and neither man backed down. Security swarmed the ring, struggling to separate them. Heyman clutched his phone, perhaps calling the one man who could restore order, Roman Reigns. With the bloodline in chaos, opportunity knocked. In the middle of the mayhem, a different superstar seized the moment. Cody Rhodes. The American Nightmare had been waiting for the bloodline to crumble, and now, with Solo preoccupied and Jacob tearing things apart, he capitalized. A scheduled fatal four-way match for the No-1 contender spot was set to take place later that night, featuring Cody, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and LA Knight. But with the Bloodline's implosion dominating headlines, the match was moved up. Cody entered the ring while the chaos between Jacob and Solo still raged on outside. The match was explosive. Randy Orton delivered devastating RKOs. AJ Styles showcased his aerial expertise, and LA Knight put on a hard-hitting performance. But Cody had something the others didn't, a moment where the bloodline wasn't standing in his way. With Solo distracted, Jimmy USO absent, and Roman nowhere to be found, Cody capitalized. He counted an RKO attempt into a crossroads on Orton. 1, 2, 3. The arena erupted. Cody Rhodes was the new No-1 contender for the WWE Undisputed Championship. Outside the ring, Solo and Jacob were still trading blows. Security struggled to contain them. Heyman shouted into his phone, desperate for someone to take control. But it was too late. The bloodline was crumbling, and Cody Rhodes was marching toward his destiny. The road to WrestleMania had just taken a violent and unpredictable turn.